What's up, AGTV crew? I have a big problem with rooftop tents. They're huge, they're heavy, and often they are simply too much for the vehicle you already own. But what if this wasn't just another massive brick? What if this is the one tent that finally solves that problem? This is the NatureNest Polaris Lite, and it claims to be one of the lightest, thinnest, most compatible hard shells on the market. And today I'm gonna find out if this is one of the biggest innovations in rooftop tents, or if it's all just a massive gimmick. This tent has some wild claims. It weighs just 120.6 pounds. It's only $1,449. It's made of a new composite material, and it has an inflatable mattress with an R value of 7.8. So here's the plan. We're gonna test all of it right here in the yard. Test one, that 120-pound weight. It's not about lifting it, it's about why this number makes it one of the most universal tents you can buy. Test two, they claim a 30-second setup. So I've got my stopwatch right here on my phone. And then finally, test three, the inflatable mattress. Is it even comfortable? And stick around because that amazing 3.9-inch design comes with one major trade-off that I discovered immediately, and it's a huge pain if you like to pack up and go fast. But first, the specs. It's a two-person tent. The shell is a polyurethane honeycomb composite, which is where it gets its ultra lightweight and strength. The fabric is a 900D tear-resistant Oxford, and it comes with German-made Stabilis gas struts, a ladder, shoe bags, and even a heater port. And a huge thanks to NatureNest for sending this over for me to test. They're not paying me for this review, and they have no idea what I'm about to say. As always, this is 100% the real deal. All right, let's get to the first test, that 120-pound weight. And trust me, it's the most important spec of this entire tent. Okay, so 120.6 pounds. Let's be clear, is it light? Not exactly. This thing is still incredibly bulky and awkward, and I'm not about to try to lift this onto my minivan by myself. But that 120-pound number isn't about a solo lift. It's about compatibility. Most factory roof racks on minivans and crossovers that we all drive, think Siennas, Pilots, Outbacks, have a dynamic load of around 150 to 165 pounds. Most of these kinds of tents are 160, 170, even 180 pounds. So you'll be over your vehicle's weight limit before you even add crossbars. So that means you'll need to add a heavy-duty aftermarket roof rack before you even get started. But this, at 120 pounds plus 15 or 20 pounds for your crossbars, you are well under that 150-pound limit. This makes the Polaris Lite one of the only hard shells on the market that will work with almost any stock vehicle. That is a game changer. So that makes it safe for almost any roof. And my next test was gonna be to do that 30-second setup, but it is starting to rain and I don't wanna ruin my camera. So let's get inside and see how this thing looks from the inside. So my first impression inside the tent is that the mattress, even though it is completely deflated right now, is actually not very uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's comfortable, but I don't feel like I'm sinking into the hard metal base. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and pull out this pump, which I have not used yet. So this pump says it's 46 watts. It has a 2000 milliamp battery and its input is 5 volts and 1 amp. It does turn right on, but I don't want to waste that power. I want to try to put some air into the mattress before it runs out of power. So I'm about to fill this up with some air and I'm realizing that the foam component of the mattress is really two things. There's a mattress cover, which we're in right now, and inside of here is actually what is essentially a camping mattress that also has an additional amount of foam inside. Now, I probably wasn't supposed to pull this off altogether, but it looks like this only goes in one way. So this piece is supposed to stay inside of the mattress. Let's go ahead and put that back in. And then on the outside, this is probably where I'm supposed to inflate it. Let's see if that'll work. The pump managed to inflate this mattress no problem, and honestly it feels pretty comfortable. Now that we've got a comfortable mattress, the next thing I wanted to set up is of course the lighting. One thing I love about the NatureNest tents in general is they have actually very good integrated lighting. Those two little barrel plugs were a little bit annoying. They had a small, very thin alignment, and that little thing just didn't line up right. It was kind of a pain. I think it's a once and done thing, so now that I have those hooked up, I'm never gonna undo those again. I don't think there would be any reason to do that. So that makes me wonder, why not just connect those at the factory or make that a thing that is not able to be disconnected. So let's see how these lights work. Straight to white, it actually doesn't look that bad. It's not super bright in the camera. So let's see how it feels in this morning environment. It's about noon now, but it's dark enough, it's cloudy enough that it's just about that sunrise effect. Very smooth zippers. Basically no resistance on these zippers at all. So the good thing is you can open or close the zippers from either side. And then I am essentially in blackout mode right now. And so this thing is actually very comfortable. I feel like I can't even reach the roof with my hands all the way up. And so that's plenty of space in there. Oh, and there's a sunlight up here. So maybe I don't want it pitch black in here, but I want to keep myself as protected from the rain as possible. I do have this small little portal that is under the fly there, so that'd be a great thing in the summer. Maybe if you're experiencing some rain or something, you want some fresh air but you don't want to let the rain get in, definitely open that. I do currently have the lights on their maximum setting. There are two light strips going around essentially the outer perimeter of the outside shell. On its highest setting, it's pulling 12.2 watts. I don't know if you guys can see that, 12.2 watts. Let's try some of the other settings. Maybe I feel like this is too bright. Let's go to the lowest setting. So that is the lowest setting. My little battery bank right here, this is about 100 watt hours. This says it's gonna run for another 37.5 hours with this low load. So I could just plug this in and leave it essentially all night, maybe for the weekend, if I don't want to come into a dark tent. So there's essentially two sets of LEDs. You have white LEDs, which are your 5,000 Kelvin, somewhere around there. And then you have your yellow LEDs, which are around 3,000 Kelvins. And so your options are orange, off, of course, pure white, and then that mix of those lights. Well guys, I have two standard cheap diesel heater hose sizes. This one is a 4-inch diameter and this one is a 3-inch diameter. Some of the diesel heaters come with the 3. Some folks like to upgrade to the 4 because that allows a little more airflow. But which one will fit inside of this little porthole? So the 3, let's see. So the 3 fits no problem. Another thing I want to point out, this test is a little bit deceiving because you're going to push your hose from the outside in, but I'm already in here. I'm trying to avoid that rain. I'm going from the inside out. And so me struggling with that elastic, that's not really going to be a problem with your diesel heater if you have it set up outside of your tent, which of course you will because you're not going to set it up on this mattress. But that fit no problem. This is the one, the 4-inch, I am a little skeptical about. I don't know if I'll be able to get this to fit, but it is worth a try, and I may have to end up going outside to try that anyway. But can I get you in there? Come on, 4-inch hole. Guys, this tight space is just a little bit too much for me to work with. So I'm gonna try this one again when I go outside of the tent later. I'm essentially laying more or less how I would sleep in this tent. On my side, I am more of a side sleeper. I like to roll and toss and turn, but mostly stay on my side. And I am essentially taking up about half of the tent. Now I can reach all the way across to the edge, no problem. But certainly if I was traveling with my wife, I would definitely be able to keep her comfortable in this tent. I'd probably put her on the hot side though, where the heater outlet is, because I like to sleep cold. She likes to sleep hot, and that is how life is. And I am here just laying back. My head is maybe a few inches from here. I have plenty of foot space. I am about 5'9". Like I said, I can touch the edge, but by no means do I feel like I would be crowded in here with my wife. And if you're looking at a tent like this, one of your considerations is probably being super comfortable and possibly traveling with someone else. And one of my biggest pieces of advice ever from all the camping that I've done is, if you want someone to go camping with you, for example, your wife or your girlfriend, make them comfortable. Just making them comfortable will pay off in the long run, and they might actually enjoy camping with you, or they might just tell you they enjoy it just to not hurt your feelings. So we've covered just about everything in the tent. The only thing we have left to answer is, how does this look? Maybe you want to be a late riser. Maybe you stayed up around the campfire a little too long last night and you don't want a lot of light coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off these amazing LED lights and see how dark is it in here. Now you can probably just barely see me in the clip here, and I do see peeking through, you can see over here along the edge, just a couple of small, and just for reference, I am pointing at the front bottom of the tent, and this is just a couple of small light leaks. And those two light leaks were right here. This is the front door, which we haven't seen yet. There was also some small light leaks around the top right here. And if you've seen any of my other rooftop tent videos, that seam where the main fabric, which these fabrics are replaceable if they do get damaged in the long run, but that seam sometimes is where they can leak water. And because I can see light around that seam, I feel like possibly in a torrential downpour, I might also pull in a little bit of water. Now the way that I fix that is there's a little wax, it's almost like a chapstick thing. You unzip everything and you run that wax along all of those zippers, and that helps significantly with waterproofing these tents. Fortunately, we do have rain in the forecast tonight, and so tonight I do actually plan to sleep in this tent. And so we're gonna see, if it rains, how much rain do we actually get, and then does it leak inside the tent. And I just noticed, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but this bag right here, so if I wanted to just drop something in, maybe put a picture, there's a clear case right here, but there's essentially 5, so 3 good pockets right here, and then 2 massive pockets along the bottom. I feel like, I mean, look at my iPhone there. This is definitely big enough that you could put something pretty substantial in those pockets. And on the topic of storage, we do have 2, one on each side. Very nice hanging pockets here as well. And again, the iPhone for reference fits right in. You could probably fit an iPad standing straight up in there, or if you want to throw your keys, your wallet, maybe find yourself a place to leave things, this would be a perfect place to do it. And there is, of course, one of these on each side, so plenty of storage inside of the tent. It's comfortable, it's warm, and it's definitely dry in here. But now it's time to talk about that major trade-off I mentioned earlier. To get this tent to close down to that incredible 3.9 inches, everything has to come out. Your pillows, your sleeping bags, all of it. You can't store any bedding in here at all, unless of course it's super thin, and then what value is it adding in your camping gear? With a lot of hard shells, you can just leave your entire bed setup inside, close the lid, and you're done. With the Polaris Lite, that's the trade-off you get with that amazing aerodynamic profile, but you add an extra step to your morning, packing up all of your bedding separately. For me, it's an annoying but acceptable trade-off. Okay, I thought I was done with the rain. It is in fact about to start raining again, but I've got my phone ready to use as a stopwatch. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna hit start and get going. So let's get this thing going. 1 minute and 37 seconds. The reality is, if you're using a rooftop tent like this, 30 seconds does not matter. You're gonna spend your time, take your time making sure you're leveled. I've got this thing leveled right now, but in your car, when you're parking, you're gonna wanna make sure that's level so you're not sleeping on a slope. There's a lot of other disadvantages of these tents, but one of them is not time. And the rain is just starting to come down again. So the NatureNest Polaris Lite, is it a gimmick? Absolutely not. If you have a stock crossover, a minivan, a small SUV, and you're worried about your roof's weight limit, this is probably the hard shell tent for you. That 120 pound weight is its single best feature. And if you want a fast setup under $1,500, this is one of the best values on the market. The only major trade-off that I see with this one versus some of the other NatureNest offerings is that you have to pack your bedding separately. For me, the 120 pound weight and that 3.9 inch design, and the fact that it's safe for my van's factory roof rack, that is easily worth the hassle. Guys, I think I'm gonna have to call it. That rain is really coming down pretty hard. So this tent is a massive innovation, and at $1,449, it's a huge win for minivans and crossover campers. But as good as this tent is, it doesn't solve the biggest problem for any camp setup, which is power. You still need to run that mattress pump, your lights, and your fridge, and for a setup this minimal, you need a power station that's just as compact and efficient. And that's why I've been testing this new Blue Eddy portable power station that has a feature I've never seen before. Is it the new king for minivan camping? Click this video right here to find out.